frequent headlines about fear that Malaysia will branch its fiscal deficit. But what is fiscal deficit? So let's try to understand what exactly is fiscal deficit and why do we care so much about it. Fiscal deficit refers to differences between a government total expenditure and its total revenue excluding borrowing costs over a specific period, typically fiscal years. It represents the amount of money by which a government's spending exceeds its income during a given period. So, what constitutes the government total incomes? Well, there are two components, which are revenue receipt and non-tax revenue. Revenue receipts of the government corporation include corporation tax, income tax, custom duties, union exercise duties, GST, or the taxes of the union territories, while non-tax revenue include interest receipt, dividends, and profit. External grants are the non-taxes revenue and receipts of the union territories. In the budget, it was mentioned that the government target is to reduce the fiscal deficit to 3.2% of GDP in 2025. In general, there are three approaches that can be used to achieve this target. Firstly, by increasing the gross domestic product growth rate by making the national economy move vibrate. Second is by increasing revenue collection. And third, by reducing national expenditure. The issue in the context of a gross domestic product GDP growth rate, it was not explained in the budget speech, which is what is the government approach to make the national economy more vibrant. This is because they need an explanation on what are the new catalysts for the national economy that the government will focus on. As we look at the Shape Prosperity Vision 2030, there are detailed key economic growth activity as a guide for the country economic growth. The big picture for the country economic growth under the current government is very unclear. According to the article from Bernama, it stated that Malaysia's fiscal deficit is expected to consolidate further in 2023 to 5.0% of gross domestic product, falling to 93.94 billion from 99.48 billion in 2022. In fact, according to the Ministry of Finance, said in its update on economic fiscal outlook and revenue estimate 2023 report today, the primary balance deficit is estimated to reduce further to 2.5 billion of GDP. That is down to 47.84 billion from 58.21 billion in 2022. Moreover, the report said that the government revenue is expected to be lower at 291.5 billion or 294.36 billion in 2022 as a result of slower global economic growth and an anticipate moderation of commodity price. Based on the expert view, they said, we expect Malaysia budget will be slightly less expansionary budget 2023. One of the methods or action taken by the government to reduce expenditure by giving subsidy and cash assistance should be implemented for more sustainable fiscal management for the long term. Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said that in order to solve the problem regarding the issue of inflation, a government will continue to provide various social assistance, including cash assistance for the target group in order to reduce the high cost of living, especially in relation to daily food needs, like for example, the payment of a Rahmah cash contribution STR in Fasa 1 to 8.7 million B40 group worth 1.67 billion has been channeled in stage since January 17. In fact, Anwar said that the Malaysian government will work to generally lower the national debt and narrow the budget gap without resorting to raising the taxes that can hurt the poor people. This is because monitoring and controlling fiscal deficit are important for maintaining economic stability and ensuring the government ability to meet its obligation and provide existential public service. The initiative that the government will take to provide targeted subsidy to reduce the high cost of living are highly expected by the people because it can help to reduce unnecessary spending by the government, while at the same time the fund can exit to community in spending. Besides that, it also can help the small trader who are facing problems due to the very high cost of a raw material. However, even though Malaysia faces of a global uncertainty, Malaysia's economy show positive sign where it showed that the government fiscal policy and planning under the budget 2023 has achieved the target.